Thank you for sharing time with us and listening to our first episode of Red Tape Real Talk. Eries and I absolutely enjoyed being at the Military Influencer Conference and sitting down with Major James Capers to hear his story.
Absolutely. And so now we want you to hear it. Here's the episode.
Live from Red Tape Real Talk. This is an absolute honor to talk to a legend, someone who's paved the way for so many, and we are absolutely honored to talk to the Major.
I'm honored to be here.
Our podcast, Red Tape Real Talk, looks and provides a window seat into public service. We believe that public service can save us, and it is an absolute honor to be able to talk to someone and to learn about your story, your full public service story. We believe that if we can tell the story of our military service members, our public servants across communities in this country, then we can truly save us, and we can truly show the American public what public service is all about.
And hopefully inspire the rising generations to want to share their talents as a federal civilian, as a local civilian serving their community, as a military member. Our whole point is to help build trust. And I think that is, you're a living example, exemplifying that. And so today we are so honored to sit down with you. We're wondering if you could just share a little bit about yourself and why you chose a path of public service in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm another James. And my name is Major James Capers, Jr. I was born in Bishopville, South Carolina, years ago. And I'm looking forward to moving back there at some point. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I even have a house there now. You guys are gathered to talk about an old warrior here. And times like this, it's hard to put it all together. I've written a couple books, and we did a documentary based on my life and times. My family, we all came from South Carolina, and my father was put on what they used to call a chain gang for a crime he didn't commit. And he left South Carolina and moved to Baltimore, and where he started a new life in Baltimore. And my mother and my sister and my two brothers, we stayed in South Carolina until my father came back and got us, and the family all moved to Baltimore, which is where I pretty much grew up, was educated. And I saw a recruiting poster about a U.S. Marine, so I figured that, well, why not? They were supposed to be the toughest guys on the planet, and at the time I was feeling pretty good about myself, so I went in and volunteered, and they accepted me, and I moved on to a place called Paris Island, which was sort of a very difficult place, back in the 50s, but I went through the program and graduated. And as soon as I got here to Camp Lejeune, war started in the Middle East. So they took the young Jim Capers and sent me to the Middle East. And of course, the Israelis and the Egyptians were having it out. And we got there, and we didn't land because the British came in and helped out. They sent me home back to Camp Lejeune, and stayed there and was training. And then they gave me some leave, and I went home to Baltimore, and I met again the young lady that I'd gone to school with and loved her the first time I saw. And we married, and they shipped me to California. And it was a wonderful relationship. We were married for 50 years.
What was her name?
Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Dorothy Lee. And she was my sweetheart from high school to the time I was holding her hand when she closed her eyes for the first time. She died of cancer. I'd already lost my son. We had a son, a child, and he was born without sight, but he played the piano, the flute, the melodica, the organ. He was gifted. Mm-hmm. And we lost him, and then we lost my wife, and then the demons come home. You know, I had already gone through a couple wars, but you know, the problem that I had, we fought in Vietnam, and there were a lot of memories there that were very difficult for me to, you know, to really come to be a human being again. And I know that most folks have heard about that and read about the Vietnam era and the Medal of Honor that we talked about that was in Vietnam. And there's only 3 of us left alive from Team Broad-Minded, a group of Marine commandos, and the good men, and we lost most of them. But now the government has decided to recommend me for the Congressional Medal of Honor. That recommendation came while my wife was still alive, and I wish she was here today. So if it should happen, you know, I think she deserved it more than I did. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. And, you know, when I come home from the war, I was in Bethesda Hospital for a year. And she was there almost every day when I went through all the surgeries. And, you know, I had 19 holes that I bled from, and a lot of metal that I still left in my body. And when all of the surgeries were going on, she was there by my bed in the hospital, you know, cheering me on and telling me that you're going to get through this. We're going to be okay. We're going home again. And I survived. I learned to walk again and continued my career. You know, during the war, all my officers were killed in the first 3 months, and I was a staff sergeant. And to replace those officers, one day my colonel came in and took me in his office and took off my staff sergeant and put on lieutenant bars. And it was what we call a battlefield commission. And I kept that commission until I retired as a major. And I got selected for lieutenant colonel. But I was done now. I mean, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't make those parachute jumps and make those long night swims. So I did the right thing. I had a wife and a child, so I retired with the rank of major. And I had 23 years, you know, duty in the Marine Corps. And I retired and had a good life. My wife was there. My son was there. I had a lot of friends. And some are here now. They're here, sitting over here. My good friends that I've known most of my life. And recently, I picked up another friend, which I call my chief of staff. He's here. I'm not sure what I'd do without him.
Mr. Frank?
Yeah, he's a good man. And Coast Guard. He's thought about joining the Marines, but he changed his mind.
It's not too late, Mr. Frank. Always looking for a few good men.
But go ahead and ask me a question.
I'll just say that
So let me jump in and first
Yeah,
just
I'm in
say,
Eries.
tonight you're going to be honored as part of the Mighty 25 here at the Military Influencer Conference, and it is a well-deserved honor. What does it mean to be here at MIC right now at the Military Influencer Conference and to step to that stage tonight?
It means so much. I just celebrated my 88th birthday.
Yes.
And when I was a child in South Carolina, I had a disease that they didn't think that I was gonna live. But a family took me in. My family were farmers basically. They picked the cotton and did all those things that most African Americans did back in that time. But I got this disease and they had no way of helping me, so they gave me to a white family. And now there's a search on to see if they could find the descendants of that family who took me in, and obviously kept me going, kept me alive until I could go back to my family. A piece of humanity that, people think about the South as being very cruel. It was during that period of time, but they were good people, human beings. And this room is full of the descendants of those types of folks who believe in humanity and don't look at someone based on the color of their skin. I've been a benefit of that. When I got promoted and the things that I've had a chance to do, there were people who never looked at the color of my skin. They looked at my talent, and I worked hard for that. All I wanted was a chance. Give me an opportunity, and I'll get it done. I ran 50 missions in combat, and they were all very difficult, but I had gone from sergeant to staff sergeant to second lieutenant, and now I'm in command of a group that I served with, and only 3 of us are still alive today.
Who are the 3?
Mm-hmm.
Can you share their names?
Their names?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Walter Roski and Stanton. Good man. He lost a kidney, and when we all got hit, and Stanton fell back on me, and I'd been wounded and fell back on a tree, and Stanton fell back on me, and I thought he was dead. So I reached around him to pull off his dog tags, and his nose was bleeding, his mouth. And I said, "Hang in there, Stan, hang in there." And he looked up at me. He said, "I'm okay, Lieutenant. I'm okay." Now, Stan was my M79 man, which was a rocket propelled thing, and he run out of ammunition. So he was leaning back on me, and blood was coming out of his mouth and his nose. I said, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay." And he looked up at me. I was holding him, and he said, "I'm okay, Lieutenant. Hand me a rifle." He was out of ammunition for his M79. One of the bravest things I think I ever heard. This boy is dying, and he says, "Hand me a rifle, I can still fight." Mm. And he did fight. The team fought my Wooden Dog King, which was a huge German shepherd, was trained to kill. He killed 2 enemy soldiers, but he was shot and killed, and we lost him. Mm. But now we had to get him out of there, and we don't ever leave anybody behind. And we got him, and we got all of the wounded, and there were no KIAs. And we fought our way to the helicopter. The chopper was watching the battle, and he landed. And our mission was to get to the helicopter and save my men. So we had to fight our way from where we were to the helicopter. So we got to the helicopter, and I got all my men on board. As tradition, I would be the last one on board. Get my troops out of here. We even took the dog's body and put him on a helicopter. And crew chief grabbed me and tried to pull me on board. And I want to wait until all my men were there. And eventually, they pulled me on, and the helicopter went up about 10 feet and crashed. And I fell off the helicopter. But now I'm trying to deal with the bad guys who are still there. And we fought our way. The helicopter, of course, the crew chief, he started firing. They got me on board, and we went up and took us to AMED, and everybody lived. There's only, as I said, 3 of us alive today. But what they did in that battle was something that, it's hard to explain. I'm proud of those guys, and, it's a long story, but there's more involved in that. But, I don't want to bore you with something that happened many, many years ago.
Not at all.
Oh,
Not at all.
you have us captivated.
You do. In Major Capers, there's one of the most fascinating parts of your story is that growing up in Jim Crow South, joining the Marine Corps, serving in combat, and first African-American enlisted battlefield commission, right, to become a commissioned officer, then serving all the way through. But in that period, when you came back, you were asked to be the face of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And that is where I learned of your story, because I saw the picture, the iconic photo, the iconic poster. What was that moment like when you started to have that discussion around, we want you to be the face of the Marine Corps?
Well, when I was in Bethesda Hospital, I was there for almost a year, and I had to learn to walk again, and I got around in a wheelchair like that. My chief of staff is wheeling me around in, and it was a difficult time for me. I survived it, but when I got out of the hospital, they wouldn't send me back to Vietnam. I got orders to go back to Vietnam, but my legs were not strong enough, so they sent me to a place called Marine Barracks Fort Meade, which was an Army base, and we had a place called the National Security Agency, and that's where I worked there. And they were looking for more African Americans to join the Marine Corps during that time. The Marine Corps was one of the last services to accept African Americans. And, I joined in the 50s, but they asked me I don't remember his name, but he came down from Pentagon and told me that I had been selected to do a recruiting poster. I was an officer by this time, and they came and got me and took me to a golf course, and they had me all dressed up. I had never had officer's blues on, but I got the blues, and we had a whole team of Marines around me as the background. When I look at the poster, the young Marine that was on my right and to my rear, he was killed. The war was still going on, but he was there with me, and I remember, I was having difficulty standing, and he was the young man, a young white Marine, that was behind me, and he put his hand in my back, and he was whispering to me, "It's okay, Lieutenant. You can do this. I'll hold you up." You know, I remember him. He's gone now, but, you know, to say that, and his picture is in the poster, you know, wonderful young man, but I would have fallen. My legs were not strong enough, and he put his hand in, and he was whispering, "It's okay, Lieutenant. I got you. I got you." And that recruiting poster apparently was very popular, and a lot of young Marines joined, and there's one right over there now in the corner, smiling. Oh, yeah. Long history between us. Long history. And we're still friends and still Marines. And there's not more I can say about him, except he was lucky enough to marry a beautiful lady who's with him. My family. I had a wife and son. They're all gone now. You know, I'm the last of the family. But while they're gone, you know, I have new friends and new family, and they mean so much to me. And I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate you youngsters taking the time to help me look back at these stories and talk about the recruiting poster. And apparently it was very popular at that time. A lot of Marines joined because of that. I still have a bunch of them, and I'll make sure each one of you get one.
Oh,
Yeah. I wrote a couple books. The first one is entitled Faith Through the Storm. It chronicles my life as a young Marine and a young African American from the South and trying to make my way. And I went to Harvard University. After I retired, I was vice president for a large corporation, and they sent me to Harvard. And I'd gone to the University of Maryland. And then I went to the University in Hawaii. I was stationed there. So I didn't get a lot of education, but that was best I could do considering, you know. I enjoyed Harvard. Really good guys, and they made me the class president. There was 50 of us in the class and a lot of young folks, and I was vice president, and they needed to be, shepherded around, get them to the class on time, and they didn't take it seriously. So I had to kind of say, okay, now, here's the way we're going to do this today.
You're the Marine to lead them.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was good education. And now I'm being educated a little bit more with you all, and I'm in the, you never know about this kind of thing, but I'm just turned 88, and I'm still learning things. Right now Hollywood has got a film that they're trying to get done, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but these are things that surround me, and such as the Congressional Medal of Honor. We fought our way through Quezon, which was a large military base just below the border, and the enemy brought in the 324th B Division, and they hit us day and night. They dropped those rockets in, and we had the truck drivers, they were called the Rough Riders, and they would bring in food and ammunition. They would make that 30-mile trip, and they'd come into our base because we were surrounded, and we wouldn't have made it if we didn't get those Rough Riders to come in and bring ammunition and food and water. And when they brought the trucks in, they had their lights out, and they'd come into the base, they'd blow their horns, to let us know that they were there, and they would get out of those trucks and fight on the lines like infantrymen, Motor T. I remember those guys, but the whole base, it was one of those rare things other than what you might see in World War II. This base was phenomenal. It was called Quezon. And my troops were there, and we did good. And one night they hit us. They hit us hard, and we had barbed wire, and they were coming in, and I saw this young Marine. It was at night, and I said, "Come here, Marine." He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "They'll be coming." They were blowing these bugles, and I knew they were coming in. I said, "They're on their way now. I want you to come with me. Stay with me now, because they'll be coming." He said, "Yes, sir." And he came over to me, and I said, "Stand over here to my right, and I'll let you know when I can see him." And he stood over to where you are, and then the bugles and things were beginning to happen. Some of the buildings began to blow up. I said, "You okay, son?" He said, "Yes, sir. I'm just a little tired." He said, "I'm just a little tired. Can I sit down for a minute?" I said, "Yeah, son." And he sat down, and then the bugles, then the buildings were exploding, and you could hear them coming through the lines. And I said, "Okay now, here they come." And he didn't move. I said, "You okay, son?" And he didn't move, and he fell over. He was dead. He died right there. He had a big hole in his chest that I didn't see. It was at night. He had a big hole in his chest, and he died on his post. I didn't see it. And he was right there, then he fell over. And then they came to the lines. Yeah. My guys were there, and I could hear my guys saying, "Come on, you son of a bitches. Come on." They'd cut their way through the barbed wire and was coming through. But the story was about this young man. I never knew his name. He fought, he was wounded, and he didn't give up. He died on his post. Through the years, I used to wonder, who was this young man? Where'd he come from? He didn't say I was wounded. He said, "I'll be all right." And then he didn't get up. And then it was, it was a rough night. But I could see him coming in through the lines, and we had a broadcaster, and I don't remember her name now, but she used to broadcast over our lines and say, "You American dogs, we'll kill you all," and you could hear over the night, over the loudspeaker. But our guys held in there. They didn't retreat. Nobody retreated, and we stayed there. And we spent 3 months there. We didn't give up, and I was in command as a second lieutenant. And they finally pulled us out and sent us south. And we got down to another base, and we'd been over there almost a year now. So it was time for us to think about going home. we got new replacements in because most of the guys were gone now. And I'm still hanging in there. And I wrote to my wife and told her that looks like this thing is coming to an end now, and I hope to see you soon. But it didn't work that way. They sent me to another base, and they gave me one more mission. And that's the mission of Fulak. And that's the mission that they say the president will give me the Congressional Medal of Honor. That was my last mission. And we fought for 4 days, day and night. And I did the best I could. Lost my war dog. He killed 2 enemy soldiers. He jumped on one and he ripped his throat out. He was a big dog. When he jumped on him, he grabbed one and he ripped his groin. That's what he was trained to do. This is King, the war dog, the warlord. But he was killed. And what I did, I grabbed one enemy soldier, put my hand on his mouth and took my knife and I cut his throat. And I hit him and ripped it. And I killed him. The blood was all over the place. Then there was 2 others, and I took my 9mm and I shot the first one, hit him with a double tap, bam, bam, and he fell. Then another one tried to get to the trees, and I hit him with a double tap, and he fell. And I was trying to get everybody together, but it was, it was, they were coming in from the right, we kill them all. We kill them all. I had blood all over me. I had blood in my hands, Yeah, it was so much blood that the enemy soldiers were still bleeding. And the ones I hit with the 9mm, they fell and didn't get up. I think one tried to get up, and I shot him in the back. Yeah, and he didn't get up.
Major Capers?
Yeah.
Wow. I know we're getting close to time here.
Okay.
And we know you got a busy schedule. Thank you for sharing that. And I can't imagine.
That's why they kept me in a hospital for a year. Yeah.
Your exemplary service and sacrifice for our nation. And thank you. I don't even know, but thank you seems like not even enough to say.
Well, I appreciate it.
I can just feel your story feel it through your storytelling. And we are just so grateful for you and all you've done for our nation.
They gave me the medals now. It's the Raider Medal. And this is the Commando Medal of Honor. But it won't bring back my troops. I was married for 50 years.
Miss Dorothy.
I live alone now. Everything I had of value is gone. So you guys bring a lot to me that I don't have. When this is over, I'll go home to an empty home. And you go home to whatever your life will give to you, and I hope it's good. So it's an honor for me to be here. And I wish you well in your career, and you, young man, another James.
Younger James.
Well, Major Capers, I live in the Jacksonville area, and so you will not be alone.
Well, thank you.
You are now part of our family. And we are just, sorry, a little choked up, so humbled and honored to have you here with us today. We are cheering for you. We are grateful for you. We would not have our careers. And if you all would...
We'll take a picture too.
Yeah.
As a family.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for, helping to keep our nation free and safe.
Thank you.
We are so grateful for you.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Wow, what a powerful interview with Major James Capers. And if you heard what I heard and felt what I felt as he told his story, like us, you believe he is worthy of upgrade to the Medal of Honor.
And the thing that, Eries, that I really enjoyed was sitting down with him and hearing about his journey growing up in segregation South.
Your hometown.
In my
South
hometown
Carolina.
in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then making it all the way to the battlefield. And some of the work that he has done even after his time over, we heard 5 decades with his beautiful wife, his late wife. Those are the types of stories that I think we want to highlight here at Red Tape Real Talk.
Absolutely. And like Major James Capers' example, we believe America's worth fighting for. We thank you for tuning in. And if you also believe he is worthy, as 47 congressmen have already signed their names to, of the Medal of Honor, please contact your congressman or representative and let them know of his story, his sacrifice, his service to our nation, so that he is honored while he is still with us.
He has a story that is worth being told, and it's worth the American public hearing it and hearing the full story.
Yes.
And I really, really do, as you said, hope he one day receives the Medal of Honor.
Absolutely.
Hopefully happens soon.
To Major James Capers, sir, thank you for your service. Thank you for making time to share your story with the Red Tape Real Talk podcast. And thank you for exemplifying service to our nation.